Hi everyone, thanks for joining us this evening for our first BAA live Facebook session. My name's Damien, I'm a training manager with Builders Academy Australia, and Rob Shazberg's with us also, who works and helps us with our builders registration sessions that we run here at Builders Academy. So the live stream's an opportunity for you guys to ask us questions, and it might be questions about what services does Builders Academy offer, but it'll also be about, hopefully, you'll have lots of good questions for Rob, and Rob's going to be able to help you answer questions about your domestic builders registration in Victoria. Okay, so as we go through, by all means, please, I've got a live feed here in front of me. The questions as you ask them will come through. And then I will ask Rob, obviously, the questions that you guys put forward. Please don't feel hesitant to ask anything. There's no such thing as silly questions, only silly answers. So hopefully we can help streamline some of that knowledge for you today and clean it up a little bit and clear up any misunderstanding or misconceptions that you may have. Or alternatively, maybe you've got a question that you never really thought about before today. Okay, so I'll introduce Rob, and then Rob can tell you a little bit about the service that he offers at Builders Academy, and how, and really from my point of view as a training manager, how and my interaction with our students and our trainers, how successful it's actually been to offer a service like this, because we're really proud of it and we're really proud of the work that Rob does. So, Rob Shazberg.
Cool, thank you. So I run the Builder Registration Mentoring Program for Builders Academy, so it's across the whole state of Victoria. We've been running this program since September last year, and we've already got a number of students that have actually completed the course, put together their applications, and are currently going through the process of their assessment. So that's the exam and the interview with the VBA. So I sit down with them and basically go through their application, go through the work, go through all of the stuff that they've put together towards their application, give them feedback, help point them out sort of, what needs finishing, how to arrange things, all that kind of thing, and then actually coach and guide and actually mentor the students through the exam and the interview as well. So that's getting them up to speed with the different topics that they could get asked questions on, how the whole process works, how long it takes, everything like that. So they've actually got a point of call, someone that they can call up, someone that they can email, talk to, sit down with, and actually get a bit of sort of guidance and direction as to how they go through this whole process. So what I do is I actually go around every single class in Victoria, so that's all the Cert 4 classes and all the diploma classes, and I actually present and talk about what the process is and what you need to have in terms of knowledge and experience and everything like that. And obviously that's a good opportunity and a good forum for those students to actually ask questions and get a bit more help. And obviously then they get that point of contact too. So I obviously hand out my contact details and everything else in that class, in that presentation. So those students, they can then feel, well, as they go through the rest of the course and then whatever they choose to do afterwards, they've actually got someone there that they can contact. So we do need to obviously reiterate that this is a free service for the Builders Academy students. So this is actually part of their course that they get. So as I said, it's a free service, free opportunity for them to contact me and guide them through that process. So that's sort of the mentoring program in a nutshell,
Yep.
if you like. I think.
Yep. So we've got a few questions come through, but before we do, we jump on today. So please, anyone that's got questions, by all means, send them through. We're more than happy to answer anything that you guys might want to inquire about. But so what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about Builders Academy. We're part of the Simmons Group. We come out of that pedigree, if you like, and that background. We're one of the largest volume builders in the country, and probably about the largest in Victoria. We've gone from a family-owned business to what we see today, a business that builds 2,500 houses a year and has innumerable number of students with Builders Academy. And they've always viewed Builders Academy, initially it was to train their own staff. Now we're open to training all types of people who have an interest in building and construction. So for us, there's two main courses that we offer, which is our Cert 4 in Building and Construction and our Diploma of Building and Construction. And Rob's going to talk a little bit, maybe I'll ask Rob, but Rob's going to tell us a little bit about how those two courses fit into the builder's registration process and his mentoring service as well. So maybe I'll throw it to you. Tell us a bit about those two courses and how they fit in.
Yeah, so things have changed. I mean, I've been helping people through this process for probably coming up 5 years now, and I'm actively involved every day with not just Builders Academy, but other people in the industry as well. So I've got a very good tap of exactly what's happening out there and how people are going through that process. And on the Cert 4 and Diploma, things are changing. Things are always changing. There's always new regulations coming out, changes to the Building Act, everything like that. But as things stand at the moment, the two obviously main criteria you have to have for applying for your domestic builders registration in Victoria is knowledge and experience. And in the Cert 4 and the Diploma of Building and Construction, they're giving you that knowledge component.
Yeah. So when we talk about the Cert 4 and the Diploma and what they give us, they're formalised, nationally accredited training, and what they do is they give you the underpinning skills and knowledge that industry has asked for, and it's formalised by a certificate. But it's really about that skills and knowledge and being able to apply it to the industry or into that workforce as you move forward in your career. So for us, what we do is being decided at an industry level, but at the same token, we understand, and that's why we offer the service that Rob does, the mentoring service, is because we appreciate that most of those people want to take the next step. So they'll get their qualification and then they want to look at what their avenues are down the track, and one of those obviously is builder's registration.
Yeah. And the course sets them up to then have that, as you say, the underpinning knowledge and skills to actually be able to answer the questions and go through all the textbooks and the Australian standards and the codes and everything like that. So they're actually able to take all that information and apply it into to real life situations, scenarios, plans, drawings, all that kind of thing as well.
Yep. All right. So I've got a question come through, Rob, from out there in the ether, and it says, Do I have to have any assets or money to get my builder's license?
Yep, good question, comes up all the time. Part of the process to obtain your domestic builder's registration in Victoria is at the end of the process, if you're successful, you will be asked to supply the Victorian Building Authority with what's called a letter of eligibility for domestic building insurance. Now, that's a mouthful, but to basically simplify that is, you have to be able to provide that letter of eligibility, which is a letter which has an amount on it which is based on your net asset position,
okay,
and the amount of money that you have. But the amount that's on that letter will not affect you actually being granted your builder's registration by the VBA.
So if I try and reinterpret that, it's based on the amount of basically that you qualify is the amount of work that you can do up to. Is that correct?
Over a 12-month period.
Over a 12-month period.
So you're given an annual amount of insurance that you're eligible to purchase, and you have to purchase the insurance every time you enter into a major domestic building contract over $16,000.
Right.
That amount of the contract comes off the amount that you're eligible to purchase.
Okay.
So if you're eligible to purchase $500,000 worth of domestic building insurance over a 12-month period, that essentially means you can do $500,000 worth of contracts over that 12-month period. Now, if you can only get $20,000 in terms of your letter of eligibility, the VBA, should you prove successful and everything else, is still going to grant you with your builder's registration.
Yep.
Now you're thinking, well, once I have it, I can't really use it until I have enough insurance, but that's a whole separate thing. Getting your builder's registration and using it are different things.
Yep.
Once you've got it, you don't have to use it.
Yep.
If you want to use it, then you can focus on building up that asset base, building up that cash flow, and taking those stepping stones.
And even if you are constrained to some of those lower amounts, do the insurers look at it? I know it's an aside question, but do the insurers look at it as your experience as you go through? So, say in the first year you do the $20,000, and they'll look at increasing that.
100%. So,
Okay.
at any point in time through your 12-month period, you can try and apply for more insurance.
Yep.
They'll look back at your trading history, your profit and loss, the jobs you've been doing, what jobs you've got underway.
Yep.
You know, they want to see the money going, reinvesting back into the business, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, you know, if you can only start off with a couple of hundred or whatever it might be, then, you know, you might have to take that stepping stone approach. Now, do bear in mind that the insurance is applied to your business.
Yep.
So if you have other interested parties in your business, other directors, other owners, then it's going to take into account their financial situations as well. If the business has been running for a long time, it may have its own asset base, its own trading history, that kind of thing. So all of these little things sort of come into play, and the insurer also looks at, okay, what are you planning to do in the future? You know, if there's any little things that might have popped up in the past, they'll, you know, want to inquire about those. But they're all things to prepare you for using your builder's registration once you've got it. So most guys should just focus on getting the builder registration in the first place.
Yep.
Then they can worry about how to actually use it.
Yeah, good.
And have enough for that
Yeah,
turnover.
Good. I guess from our point of view at Builders Academy, our training is a combination of both of those things.
Correct.
It's about giving you that skills and knowledge that not only will you be able to be in a position or a better position to apply for your builder's license with assistance of yourself as well as the course and everything else, but also how you run your business in the longer term from our point of view. So we do lots of work around business management, so business plans and financial plans and operational plans and all those small business things that I guess for most people need to make the leap from running as I'm a carpenter by trade.
The way I say it, you're moving from a weekly wage.
Yep.
To you don't know when you're going to get paid wage.
Yeah, very good. That's a really good way to put it.
That's the way I say it. Yeah.
My wife would agree with you as well. Absolutely. So it's really interesting, but there's some of the things that not only do you need and the background that you need actually to apply for your license, but actually will see your business in good stead moving forward as well, which is fantastic.
But the short answer to that question is
go.
no, you don't have to have any money or assets to get your builder's registration.
So I guess what the message Rob's trying to reinforce is don't let the lack of assets and financial situation limit what you want to do. Have a try, get your license. If you're successful in getting your license, you can always build up every year upon year, till you're in a position where you're going to have a sustainable business moving forward that the insurers appreciate.
Yeah.
So, good. Okay, I have another question. Hugh. Hey, Hugh. Thanks for logging in tonight. Hugh was asked, what is the difference between Builders Academy Cert 4 and other providers who offer longer courses? That's a question for me. Okay, so Hugh, it's a really good question. Thank you for asking it. At Builders Academy and most other RTOs and TAFEs across the country, we offer what's called nationally accredited training in the vet sector. And nationally accredited training basically means that you could take the qualification that you receive from Builders Academy and have it recognised anywhere in the country. Okay? The course that we follow is a nationally accredited course, as I said, and it is governed by a whole stack of regulations, but basically the makeup of the course is the same and the qualification no matter where you go. And there's government bodies who are responsible for designing the course and making sure that we adhere to the criteria or if you like, really what you study in and the duration of the course. So how does Builders Academy offer a shorter course rather than a longer course? Well, we make sure, first and foremost, we understand that your time's valuable. So what we try and do is we're trying to strike a balance between that skills and knowledge that you need to go into industry, but also, and just as importantly, we recognise the value of your time, okay? So our students tend to do 2 nights a week, and they'll either probably be on a Monday and a Wednesday or a Tuesday and a Thursday. Their sessions go from 6 until 9:30, so it's a full 3.5 hours. There's a 20-minute break in between. During that time, the delivery of the course takes place in those 2 sessions, and most of the assessment activity will take place outside of the class. Okay, so how Builders Academy does it is, what we say to you guys is, we recognise that you have a whole stack of skills that you bring to the training, and what we're able to do is, we say to our students, if you're prepared to commit to some work outside of the classroom, i.e. old school homework, and you attend all of the classes, yes, it is a very tight time frame, but what it means is, although it's intensive, what it means is that we maximise the learning opportunities that we have. We certainly have no interest in stringing it out, so we try and constrain it as much as possible. But the level of learning is no different to what you'd find in other places. Now, what I can say to you is that with Builders Academy, our materials are second to none. Our trainers are builders, training builders, is our motto, and we honestly believe in that. And we do a lot of work on continuous improvement across all of our courses. So in relation to a course that appears to be shorter, and is it of the same value? Absolutely yes. The currency is exactly the same once you've got your qualification. But secondly, we don't see the need, if the student is prepared to do the work and to commit to the timeframes, etc., we don't see the need to have a longer course as opposed to the courses that we do. Okay? Yeah, I guess I hope that answers your question. Okay, Mick's got a question. Here we go. Having completed the diploma in B&C and management, what is the process for applying for a builder's licence, and is there any organisation that you can recommend to assist with the prep of the required paperwork? Mick, top question, is why we're here tonight, and I'll throw that one to Rob.
That's exactly...
Sorry, mate.
With Builders Academy?
Yeah.
Completed with Builders Academy?
Yep.
So if you completed those diplomas with Builders Academy, then you actually have access to me for free to help you through that process. That's a short answer. If you completed that qualification with another training organisation, then do get in contact with me. I can still help you. I'll just be sending you an invoice. That's it. That's a short answer.
So at the end of the day, if you've done those quals with Builders Academy and you choose to pursue your licence, Rob's here to mentor you and help you through the process, and we pick up the bill.
Yep.
But if you've come from an external provider and you have those quals, then by all means get in contact with us, get in contact with Rob, and have a chat with him about the services that he can offer. But as he said...
It's also what I do, so
it's his primary business as well, outside of the role that he plays at Builders Academy. So I'm sure you'll be well supported, whatever the situation is. Yep. All right? Okay, we've got another question. They're flying in. Thank you, everyone. But by all means, please keep sending them. We will stretch this out as long as we need to answer everyone's questions. So, okay. So do I have to have a diploma to get my DBU, or my Domestic Builders Unlimited licence?
Yep. Okay. It's always a tricky one because it's kind of a little bit about how the building regulations are interpreted. But the short answer is no, you don't have to have your diploma in building to apply for a Domestic Builder Unlimited. However, if you do apply for a Domestic Builder Unlimited and you have a diploma of building and construction, then it shortens the process. So you still put together the exact same application. However, you'll skip the exam. So there is an exam that you would normally do otherwise. So that means you move straight to the face-to-face interview. So you still have to do the interview. You're still going to get asked questions. They're still going to go through your experience and everything you've been doing, but it just shortens that process. Okay,
good. So there are some tangible benefits to have a diploma when you're applying for your licence.
Yep.
And the Cert 4, I'll talk about maybe the Cert 4 and the underpinning skills and knowledge. So for those people who aren't familiar with those two things, the diploma and the Cert 4 in building and construction, the Cert 4 in building and construction really is designed around the residential sector and definitely low-rise commercial construction. So it will give you the underpinning skills and knowledge that you need to start getting your application together, I guess. Okay, so sure, we're here to deliver a qualification, not a license in that respect. And the license obviously is a separate thing with the VBA and Rob and all of that process. But for us, it's really important to reinforce that there is some significant learning to take place, particularly in the residential and domestic sector, in the Cert 4 construction that you just don't cover in the diploma. So the diploma is based predominantly in medium-rise commercial. So medium-rise is up to, put Rob on the spot.
Up to 25 metres.
Yep, up to 25 metres. And so will tend to be lots of mixed-use developments and things like that, where you might have some apartments, some shops, maybe a doctor's surgery in there. It could be anything like that. So the diploma predominantly deals with, whereas, and that's great. There's some great learning in that. And if you're going for a commercial licence, then you would definitely want to have that. But if you were going for your domestic builder's licence, whether it be limited or unlimited, the underpinning skills and knowledge that you receive out of a Cert 4 is fundamental to what you want to achieve, I guess.
I can speak personally. I spent 4 years at university doing construction, and I also did the Cert 4 last year. I learned more about residential construction doing a 6-month Cert 4 than 4 years at university.
There you go. So.
So.
And it's something that we often hear because we offer, I guess, 2 streams into our courses, and what we call our experience stream, which are for generally trade qualified people or people who have been in the industry for a time, and we have our non-experienced stream, who are people who come from outside of industry and want to get in. And we recognise that there's different levels of knowledge when they start, and I guess our experienced stream is marginally shorter than our non-experienced stream, but our non-experienced stream, there is a great focus on exposing people to the things that they might need to know, or should know possibly even, if they choose to pursue a career in building and construction as well. And a Cert 4 is definitely a great place for those people to start. But what we find a lot of the time is that even domestic tradespeople who really want to consolidate those skills and knowledge, because what we find with tradespeople often is they're very focused on their own trade and they're extremely skilled in that area, but they don't have that broader knowledge that the Cert 4 can give them. And it really does expand their views, and it also confirms lots of things that they thought they knew. Through their time in the trade. So it's a really good opportunity. All right, questions. I'm really enjoying this. Really interesting question, actually, because I was just talking about the difference between the diploma commercial and residential domestic. Can I use my commercial experience for my domestic registration, Robert?
So first thing to understand is the difference between commercial and domestic. A lot of people think that when you're building townhouses and apartments, they chuck that in the commercial banner, particularly when you're involved with a lot more concreting and formwork and steelwork. Domestic work is work involved with habitable buildings.
Yep.
So that includes apartments, it includes townhouses. So if you have experience in apartments, as well as, whether it's your townhouses, your single dwellings, that kind of stuff, the apartment stuff is still classified as domestic experience.
Okay, perfect, yep.
But if your experience is in things like offices, warehouses, factories, schools, government buildings, medical centres, those kind of things,
shops.
No, that's commercial.
Yep.
Yeah, that's commercial experience. In short, can't really be used for your domestic application, because in your domestic application you actually need to provide evidence and documentation from domestic projects you've worked on.
Okay.
So domestic building is a very heavily regulated sector.
Yep.
Because you have a builder who's a business going into contract with a consumer.
Yep.
So you've got a consumer buying a product.
Yep.
Whereas in commercial building, the regulations are
business to business based
business.
transaction
Yep.
generally.
There's
So I'm a developer,
codes,
I want to build.
standards,
Yep.
Everything's specifically engineered
Yep.
for its
Okay.
purpose. Doesn't really have to start for any length of time. No one's living in it.
Yep.
Doesn't have to, you've got certain criteria you have to meet in the building code, but none of that stuff's really structurally related. So Yeah, it's short answer is no. You need to have domestic experience to apply for a domestic license, but vice versa. If you want to apply for a commercial license, again, you've got to have commercial experience as well.
Okay. So basically, what happens with the domestic situation? Now, I want to preface everything I'm about to say that this doesn't mean that they're not intelligent or they're not savvy or they're not up to speed. It just means that generally an unsophisticated consumer, in our case, someone who's getting their home built by a builder, doesn't actually understand the building process very well. So the law looks at them like they're an unsophisticated client. Okay, and what we've got to be mindful of with builders registration, specifically at a domestic level, is that those unsophisticated clients are probably purchasing something that they'll never ever do again in their lives. It's an amount of money that they could never ever retreat from. So if it didn't work out, it wouldn't be a great outcome for the consumer in this case. And so the regulations of residential construction licensing as well are just that. They're fairly heavily regulated because the stakes for the consumer here are huge. Yep. All right, cool. All right, we've got a follow-up question about the DBU, so the Domestic Builder Unlimited, and this is from Chan Paula. Finishing my Bachelor of Civil Engineering, awesome. What is the best way to apply for a DBU? Does my engineering qualification count towards my DBU?
It won't change the process, so you'll go through the same process as someone who did have a civil engineering qualification, which is application, exam and interview. However, I suppose there are certain aspects or elements that you may have been taught or learned doing that qualification that might help you better understand certain elements, such as, if you're working out things to do with house slabs and footings and your masonry and even your carpentry. So some of those underpinning skills that you would have picked up in that qualification will help you understand certain aspects of domestic building, but it won't actually change the process itself. There is a part in the application which will allow you to put in that qualification, so you can let them know that you have that qualification. But as I said, it won't change the process and it won't it won't take away from any experience requirements or anything like that.
So if I look from a perspective of experience versus qualifications in this case, or how they supplement the application, experience has to be looked at very particularly in the class of license that you're applying for.
Correct. Yep.
And your educational qualifications will always be viewed favourably if they lean towards building and construction, whether it's engineering or what it might be.
You'll still have to demonstrate that knowledge as well.
They'll still have to demonstrate that knowledge, and it depends. That might give the VBA somewhere to start with your application in a lot of ways because they'll be able to put your experience in context as well.
And individually, you'll find it easier to understand the books, understand what you need to do from a study perspective, read the drawings, read the plans, interpret standards, interpret codes. That's going to be easier if you've done some form of qualification like a civil engineering degree. That will help. Cool. Probably help you prepare a little bit easier for that exam.
So I hope, Chan Paula, that answers your question. If you've got a follow-up, mate, please follow up with another one. Louis wants to know if the mentoring program is available in Queensland. Now, I've got a sneaking suspicion that this may be Louis Chapman in Queensland, an old sparring partner of ours from Victoria. But on a serious note, we're predominantly talking about Victoria today because there's so many differences across Australia as far as registration and licensing goes. It's really hard to do a whole of Australia approach. So we are concentrating on Victoria today. But if you guys would like to talk about what services we could offer in Queensland, for example, by all means, give us a call at Builders Academy, and I'm going to give you the number at the end of today. And by all means, give us a call at Builders Academy and we can have a conversation about what that support may or may not look like, okay? So I'm not going to say no.
An example, it depends on the nature of the person and what they're doing. Generally speaking, Victoria is the hardest state to apply for your builder's registration or your builder's licence, as other states call it. But I am helping a current student who's actually moving back to Tasmania when he finishes his course.
Okay, cool.
I'm helping him apply for his Tasmanian licence.
Yep.
So I'm helping him go through the forms and prepare for
Perfect.
that. So a little bit closer to home, but yeah, I mean, it's student's a student, he needs what he needs.
By all means, any questions, give us a call. We're more than happy to provide some advice where we can in relation to that. Okay, so we haven't got long left. So if you want to get any last minute questions in, I'll drag this out as long as I can because I'm having so much fun. So by all means, send them through now because I think I'm getting a wind up, but that's okay. So from our point of view at Builders Academy, you couldn't meet a friendlier bunch of people on the phone at Student Services who want to give you a hand and help you move your career forward. That's my goal as a training manager as well. It's why I do this. It's so rewarding when we see students take that next step, and that's what Rob's part of. And we offer that unique service. It's very unique out in the industry that a training provider who's offering a qualification would foot the bill for such an awesome service as what Rob offers. And I can speak very truthfully about that, as it really is an awesome service. So they are giving me the wrap up, so we're going to wind up shortly. But what I want to say is thanks everyone for coming. Okay. Any follow-up questions, what we want you to do is we want you to give us a call at our 1300 Legend number, which is 1300 534 363. You'll also find links on the web about contact us and stuff like that. By all means, use them. Any questions are welcome, anytime. We'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And basically, if you're prepared to put in the effort and you want to change your life or you want to try and move forward in your career, Builders Academy is a great place to do it. So by all means, please get in contact with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Cheers.